Hi, this is a review on the axial skeleton. We will start with the ribs. The first are the true ribs, and then you have these last two that are false ribs, and then you have the floating ribs. On the sternum, you have the jugular notch, the manubrium, the body, and then the xiphoid process. And then moving on to the spine, you have the coccyx, the sacral, lumbar, which contain 5. On the sacrum, there are 5 fused bones. And then moving on to the thoracic spine, which contain 12 vertebrae, and the cervical, which contains 7. The atlas at C1 articulates with the occipital bone of the skull. The unique thing about the cervical vertebrae is that it contains a transverse foramen. The two primary vertebrae are the thoracic and the sacral, and then the secondary are the lumbar and the cervical. There are the sutures. There's the lambdoid suture, the sagittal suture, and the coronal suture, and then the squamous suture. Then we move on to some facial bones. You have the maxilla, the mandible, the nasal, the zygomatic, which the zygomatic process and the bone form the arch. The ethmoid bone. On the mandible, you have the angle, the ramus, the coronoid process, and the notch. And I said the zygomatic, the ethmoid, the cephenoid bone, and part of the ethmoid, the crista galli, which helps secure the brain in the cranial cavity, the cribriform plate, which has filaments of the olfactory nerves to pass through for smell receptors. In the cephenoid, you have the greater and lesser wing. You have the optic canal that has optic nerves, the sella turcica, which the pituitary gland sets in the fossa. Then you have the frontal, the parietal, and the occipital bones. And in the occipital, the external occipital protuberance marks the attachment of the ligament that stabilizes the vertebrae of the neck. And I believe that is it.